America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea, the Atlantic, to shining sea, the Pacific. And what we're going to do in this 45, 50 minutes is compare America to the ungodly United Nations. Get us, United States, get us, those of us that love America, our land, out of what? That's out of the United Nations, which is nothing united about it. It's a lie straight out the pits of hell that didn't start in the last 60 or 70 years. Started in the Bible, the book of Genesis. We read. Those of you can see it. Hopefully you can see the blackboard, but I'll be saying it so you'll be able to get it. Genesis. See, because everything I do, I'm a minister. I'm not a politician. I wouldn't last in politics 1 hour. I'm a minister. So I always start everything with prayer and with the Word of God. Because the Word of God is eternal, and the Word of God is from generation to generation. It doesn't get old, and it doesn't need any updating because it's never outdated. We'll hear the Word of God 1 million years from now in heaven. So I don't start with politics or history or any of those things. I start with thus saith the Lord. And that's why it's so hard for people to deal with me when they try to deal with me in the flesh or deal with me in economics or law or politics. I don't go there because I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an economist, I'm not a politician, I'm a preacher. Amen? Amen. All right, I told you you're in black church. Talk to me now. Don't get twisted or don't get quiet on me. All right. So we're going to go to the Word of God. Let's see where this United Nations abomination started. It started in the book of Genesis. Genesis means the book of beginnings. It started in chapter 11 of Genesis. Actually started in verse 32 of chapter 10. And it says, these were the families of the sons of Noah, according to their generations, in their nations. And from these nations, see, nations, were divided on the earth after the flood. God's, too high?
Too close.
Oh, too close. Okay. God's way has always been national, individual nations. And he set up nationalism and nations after the flood. That's a biblical principle. Nationalism is God's will and God's way, not one world government. Write that down. That's important to know. We see that in Genesis. As soon as God destroyed the first earth with a flood and created a second earth, I just read to you that verse, that he set up individual nations. That's an important thing to know. Now you go into chapter 11, verse 1. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. Everybody spoke one language. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. They had brick for stone and they had asphalt for mortar. Verse 4, and they said, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower. There's Tower of Babel going up, whose top is in heaven. And let us make a name for ourselves, unless we are scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth. You see how they were coming against God already? God said one thing in verse 32. They came up with something else in the next chapter. But the Lord, look at verse 5. But the Lord came down to see the city and to see the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, this is what God said, indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. And now nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us means God the Father, God the Son under the Old Testament, and God the Holy Ghost. Let us go down and confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them, who's them, the people on earth, abroad from there over the face of all the earth. See? And they, who's they, the people, ceased from building the city. Look at verse 9. Therefore, its name is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of the whole earth. Campers, adults, right there is the beginning of this problem that we have today that's called the United Nations. The United Nations wasn't started in the 40s or whenever with the League of Nations. No, the United Nations, the idea, the concept, they didn't call it that then. Obviously, they didn't call it the League of Nations. But the idea of a one world government that was going to become like God and make a name for themselves that we call the communist conspiracy, coming to build a one world government, started in the wicked hearts and minds of wicked human sinful beings in the Tower of Babel in Genesis chapter 11. See, that's why we got to get the spiritual principles of this stuff down. Because if we don't understand that every problem we have in this world is spiritual at its roots, that's why I'm a preacher. Because most time we put the cart before the horse. When every problem we have in America at its root is spiritual. And you just saw out the Bible right there that these people had this wicked idea in their mind that they was going to build a tower to heaven, and God says they'll be able to do it because they're only one language, so they all understand each other, and they're in one accord. They got one voice. So since they have one language, which means they all can comprehend what they're saying, and because they're in one accord, they're in unity, they will create a united wicked kingdom. Who do you think the originator of that idea was, campers? Somebody give me an idea. Somebody.
The devil.
The devil. Who said that?
Amen.
Brother, go to the head of the class. I nominate you for super camper. He's right. The devil. The devil. The devil. Say it again, son. Say it like you mean it. Say it loud and say it proud.
The devil.
Yeah, that's right. The devil.
Star now.
Because see, what I'm trying to get everybody in here to see is the very ones who start this conspiracy, we are afraid to say who it is. It's Satan. And the conspiracy is satanic. And Satan means the opposer, the diabolical one. There is a real devil, and he doesn't have on red pajamas and a pitchfork and horns. He is an invisible spirit that was an archangel whose name was Lucifer, that meant the bearer of light, until he decided in his heart in the book of Isaiah that he was going to take over God's throne. And God said, no, you don't. You out of here. And cast him out of heaven like lightning. But what did the devil put in these people's minds after the flood? We're going to build a tower. We can do it. We're in one accord. We believe we can do it. And we can understand each other's language because we all speak the same thing. And we're going to build it how high? To heaven. So now how are any of us going to think that this stuff is just political? Huh? Because by the time we get to the United Nations, they don't even believe there's a heaven. They don't even believe there's a devil. They believe man is God. And yet the Bible tells you that the forerunner of all this United Nations, League of Nations, and all the rest of this mess was the devil, when he put in wicked man's heart after the flood that they was going to build a tower that was going to go straight into heaven. Think about that. So what we're going to do here is we are going to trace the contrasting purposes of the Americanist philosophy, which is what we hold to in the John Birch Society, which most of you know, to the United Nations totalitarian world government. We're going to make a contrast that I put up here in this slide, and then I'm going to take you through 3 points, and then I'm going to sit you down, and you can ask me questions. But I'm not going to give you no history lesson and all that stuff. You need to get the flyers that we have A Dozen Reasons to Get Out of the UN, or get the book, this is kind of old, but it's still pertinent, Inside the United Nations, or there's some more recent books. Somebody else can give you all the history and the economics. I'm not anointed to do that, and I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to give you the spiritual. That I am anointed to do. So I've learned in 66 years, do what God called you to do. Don't try to do something He didn't call you to do. Amen? And that's what I say to each one of you campers. Each one of you campers have a gift. Each one of us adults in here has a gift. The problem is a lot of times we get out of what God has gifted us to do, and we want to get in somebody else's business or something God didn't tell us to do, and then we get it twisted and mess up. Every one of us has a gift from God. Find out what your gift is, and then as Reverend Kraft says, work it, baby, work it. Work your gift. Don't try to work somebody else's gift. Whatever your gift is, work that. All right. So, the first thing we see here is the contrasting purposes between the John Birch Society or Americanism versus the United Nations, totalitarian world government, or the conspiracy. First, the United Nations. The United States of America, which is a sovereign constitutional republic. First level, the government level. Less government. Restoration of our constitutional republic. We all know in here, America, is America a democracy? Right. What is America? A republic, right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the